Good morning. Welcome to our little history corner. We're going to share with you some of the history that we've been able to collect and learn over the years. Mainly, our source has been our very old minute book. It dates back to 1869. Between it and then talking with some of the descendants of the early members of the church, we've been able to get a pretty good picture of how church was back in the 1800s and the early 1900s. I hope all of you got one of our fans when you came in this morning, and you'll notice on the fans are the pictures of our old churches and our existing church. The old churches we refer to were situated back at the gazebo. Actually, right where the gazebo is where the old churches would have stood. Inside those three different buildings we had back there, there were several things that would have been in all three of them. One of them would have been a wood stove. There was always a wood stove over on the side. And one of our stories that we like to tell is Marion Underhill, who's the longest member of Kingsley Lake Baptist Church. She joined the church in 1952. She remembers coming here as a child with her grandmother, Miss Emily Silcox, and they would build the fire. So when everybody got there, the building would be nice and warm. Also, in all the buildings, there were the little shells down the side, inside walls of the building, and these little oil lamps would be sitting on those little shells for light. There was one oil lamp that sat on the pulpit itself. In front of the pulpit, and by the way, this pulpit actually came out of the church that was here, the first church that was here. That back wall of our fellowship hall now was pine paneling, so we got pine pulpit furniture. There would have been a table down front, Lord's Supper table, and on that table would have been the Bible. This Bible was actually given to the church in 1883. It came from the American Bible Publication Society. And if you get a chance to look at it, it's really well worn. It was, I don't know if the preacher used it or not, but it was really, it's worn on the pages. There would have been pulpit furniture for the pastor, the song leader. The pews in the church were homemade. There's one board for the seat and one board for the back. And no pads, no padded pews. We had these chairs back in the Sunday school room, which served well. Had to be careful though, because you could pinch your leg sitting in those chairs. In the church would have been a table over on the corner, they said, where the water bucket sat. It's reported that there was a spring, a good spring, between the back of the church and the lake, and someone would go out and get water in the water bucket, bring it in, put it on the table. There was a dipper, and everyone used the same dipper. And they would go up and down all during the service, they said, to get them a drink of that good spring water. Also in the church, you would have seen some quilts thrown around in the corners. The mamas with small children or babies would bring a quilt. They'd put it over in the corner, and when the baby was asleep, they'd take the baby and put him on the quilt. There was always a registry board of Sunday school that hung up front. Even in the newer church, as we moved over here, there was always a number board up front, and it would tell you how many people were in Sunday school and what the offering was for that week. One of our little treasures is our little birthday church. our birthday church. They used to, before you went into Sunday school, you had a general assembly. You sang songs and you did the announcements. And then whoever had had a birthday that week would go up front and they would put their birthday pennies in the little church, and we'd all sing happy birthday. And then periodically someone would take that money from the little church that would have accumulated, take it to the Florida Baptist Children's Home in Jacksonville. And it was quite a festive time. The women would make cookies and would go up there and spend the day, usually a Saturday, spend the day with the children and physically take the money. I've always thought that's a great way to teach our children mission work while they were young. Another one of our treasures is our homemade pine straw basket. Someone has made this, and it was used to collect the offering each Sunday. Our Sunday school bell, always rang the bell at the end of Sunday school. The Sunday school director, that was probably their #1 job, to ring the bell. And this bell was used many years, even after we moved over here. In fact, Wanda Bishop was the last one that got to ring this bell, and I think she probably got a little too aggressive with it, and so we had to replace the bell with a modern bell. We moved out of the old church, which is over where the gazebo is, in 1958. We had built this sanctuary, which is where our fellowship hall is now. Just a little bit of trivia, the last couple to be married in the old building was Levy and Kathy Boree. Kathy Boree is our next to the longest surviving member of Kings Lake Baptist Church. She's been here since 1958. She and Levi got married on July the 4th, 1958. And then we moved over into this sanctuary over here. We have other little treasures. When we changed the windows in the church here, which is now the fellowship hall, had to change the windows, and we put in cathedral windows, which was really pretty. So we had them made into crosses, and any of the members that wanted any could get some. Also, Mr. Morgan made these little crosses with a little red yarn representing Jesus' blood, and he'd give them to anybody that wanted them. So on all the mission trips we went on, we carried these crosses, gave them to people. People put them in their shoe boxes. So these little crosses are literally spread out throughout the world. We invite each of you to come by after church while you're eating and look at our pictures. We've got several of the old homecomings and different pastors and different people that have served here at Kingsley Lake. Look at our artifacts, and we invite you to come by and pick up one of our hot off the press church history books. A big thank you to Sandra Alvarez. She got these together really quickly. And pick up one. This is the 4th revision now, I think, of our church history. I hope you've seen, as we've gone through here, the church has always had a building fund. The church has always been involved in missions, collecting missions. There's one record in the old book where they collected 12 cents and carried it to some other church for a mission project. Always a building fund. And I think that tells us something, that our early church family always expected people to be saved, and they always knew that they would need a place to worship. Kings Lake Baptist Church has a building fund now. We always have had. I never have seen a time in the minute books when we've not had a building fund. So that tells me that the people behind us were faithful for us, and now it's our turn to be faithful for those that come behind us.